What up, everybody? Demon back, and today we are going to be doing something quite a bit different. In the past, we have talked about movies, TV shows, but now we are making the leap. Yeah. We're going to cartoons. And the cartoon we're going to be talking about today is Kong, King of the Apes, the brand new Netflix series. So, Kong, King of the Apes. This is the very first episode review. This is not a series review because I have not made it through the series yet. This episode is called The Adventure Begins, and it came out recently. I'm not sure when it came out, but I watched it yesterday. Now, I just want to get something right off the bat here, or something off my chest, I guess. I didn't want this show. I didn't see the need for it, and I didn't like the premise for it. But, having said that, after the hour and a half long pilot episode, or somewhere around that length, after that, I have grown to, like-ish this show. It's growing on me, I guess. It's not good. It's a little kid's show, but keeping that in mind, I'm trying to watch it with the mindset of, okay, as a little kid, I would have loved this. So I'm trying to watch it and enjoy it like I'm a little kid, but it's a hard thing to do. So I guess here's the plot of the show. It takes place in the year 2050. There have been some amazing advancements in technology in this new day and age, and it has been led by this doctor man. Not sure what his name is. Honestly, I only know a couple of the characters' names, and it's probably going to take me a few episodes to learn everyone's name. So the show opens with, we see a baby gorilla that is Kong. We see a baby Kong, he is the size of like a monkey, and he is being hunted by these two poachers. Now, he is saved by this little boy Lucas, the son of the scientist from earlier, and then they go back to their houseboat with the kid's brother, his twin brother, who is named Richard, I think. Let's see, Richard, yeah, that's his name. Now here's some problems already. So, the brother is just the most over-the-top villain you could ever get. From the very first second he showed up, I thought, when I very first started the episode, I started thinking, okay, maybe the whole show we're going to have these two poachers as villains. Like, that wouldn't be great, but at least it'd be something, right? But then we get this brother introduced as a little kid, keep in mind, named Richard, and right away, it is super obvious he is the villain. From here, Kong just grows pretty much overnight into King Kong size, and then he's Kong. He makes a run for it. He breaks their houseboat, which is the villain's motivation. Yeah, you heard me. The villain's motivation for wanting to kill Kong is that Kong accidentally broke his houseboat. Yeah. So from here, the three characters, they move off to this, they have like a tree, they have like a, sanctuary in the mountains that they moved to in the Red Forest of San Diego, I think, or whatever it's called. It was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's where the apes live in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, just if you didn't know that. So they live there, and the main character, Lucas and Kong, have this relationship where Lucas refers to Kong as bro nonstop. Everyone refers to Kong as bro. Everyone who's friends with him does. But so they have this relationship. They build this tree fort, and yeah. Well, two other people come and live with them, and those other people are the Mexican maid and the Mexican parrot. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen a real-life parrot before. I have. And this cartoon is where all these parrot stereotypes come from. Yeah. Parrots are not intelligent like the one in this show. And I know it's a cartoon, I'm being too hard on it, but like, if this was a real parrot, there's a scene when, like, the Mexican maid girl is like, "Oh, welcome home, I brought cookies." And then the parrot's like, "We got cookies, we got lemonade," or something. If that was like a real parrot, she'd be like, "We got cookies," and then just be like, "Houseboat?" They're like, "What?" They'd be like, "Houseboat, lemonade." That's the kind of thing a real parrot would do, and then it just starts screaming out of nowhere, because that's how parrots are. But this one in this show is like a super parrot, because it's really smart. It also has a robot arm, bionic wing. So from there, Kong is discovered because we jump 10 or so years into the future. I skipped over a whole plot point, didn't I? Okay, so the science dad, right? I don't know his name. The science dad, him and Richard make this like laboratory, and Richard wants to build a robot dinosaur, right? So he builds this dinosaur, and then he gets all obsessed with it needs to be smooth, and you can't help me because this is my creation. So he goes and turns on the lasers, which he was told not to do earlier in the episode, giving us hammering in that very first point that it just wants to shove in your face for little kids. It just takes and slams it right in there, right? So the very first thing it wants you to learn for little kids is you need to obey your parents, because now this little kid, he goes into that room, he starts working with the lasers, and then explodes himself, okay? So now he has a giant hole in his face, and Kong goes in and helps him. But the little kid still hates Kong for some reason. In fact, he swears revenge on him, and for no reason. Kong saves his life, and the little kid just gets angry because now he has a hole in his face because he decided to blow himself up. It's not like Carl Grimes' situation where he's just got the eye shot out. No, it's like they hooked him up with this robot pad right here. It's like that for the first like 5 minutes after we see it or so, and then he actually does, when 10 years in the future when we do the time skip, it is like a whole face piece, and it looks a lot better. That kid's probably one of the best designed characters in the show. So from there, Kong is discovered because he saves three hikers, this dad and then his two little kids. He saves them from a landslide, and then the media finds out about Kong, and he is put on Alcatraz Island, now called Kong Island, that has another name as like the biological something or other. And the dad and the brother Richard have been working with bionics this whole time, and they're like the leading advancements in the bionics field in the future. Meanwhile, Lucas has been traveling the world collecting endangered animals and hybrid animals, such as their two ligers, heavily featured in this episode. So here we meet the fembot from Austin Powers, pretty much. No, we meet I don't even know her name. It's like Batilla. That's her name. We meet Batilla. She is Richard's robot girl helper, and the black character, who just seems like a major ripoff of what's his name from Godzilla, the animated series from the late 90s, early 2000s. You know what I'm talking about? You know, he's called Nick Hefe. If you know who I'm talking about, you're a pretty cool guy. Um, yeah, so that rip-off characters in the show just basically there to flirt with Bottilla and help Lucas collect endangered animals. Now, from here, what really happens is the police are like, Kong is a dangerous animal. As much as you want to say he's friendly, he has the ability to climb the Empire State Building and throw airplanes all over the place. They don't say that, but we all know that's the Kong has the capability of doing that. Although I don't think this Kong would. First of all, this Kong's really friendly for whatever reason. I guess just because he's been raised with people. But also, this Kong's a giant crybaby wimp. We'll get into that later. So, from here, so they're like, alright, you need to get Kong with this control collar. So then, what's his name? Richard is like, hey, I'll hook him up with a collar. I'm the leading advancements in bionics. Very clear he's just a bad guy. It's going to be a trap, which it is, because when they do opening day of Kong Island, Richard turns up the intensity on the collar, making Kong go insane and start rampaging. However, he doesn't kill anybody. First of all, it's a kid's show. Second of all, he's a good guy. And then Richard sends out these robot dinosaurs, not like before where he had a full metal dinosaur that looked like Roboraptor. Anyone? No? Just me? Okay. Well, he sends out these, like, T-Rexes and pterodactyls, lots of pterodactyls. Pterodactyls and, like, there's a Triceratops at one point that have, like, metal plates on them. And then they go fight Kong. And this is where Kong really shows he's a wimp, because the very first dinosaurs that are taken down this episode is because Kong jumps out of the way, trying to get away from them, and then they crash into each other and blow up. From here, Kong escapes the island, gets away from the police, and hides out in the woods at the secret tree fort from the beginning of the episode that now has a camouflage feature. Then the baby ligers are kidnapped by the evil brother dude Richard, and Lucas and the gang, which now has an Asian woman and a little Asian boy who can somehow speak to King Kong and the ligers. That's pretty stupid, but I guess the little kids need to understand what a giant gorilla is saying for some reason. Not that I ever did when I was a kid, and I grew up with Kong, King of Atlantis. Not that that's a good show, but still, I grew up with the King Kong cartoon, which, to my memory, you didn't understand what he said. I grew up with a musical King Kong movie. I still own on VHS somewhere around here. I grew up with the Rankin Bass cartoon that I only saw a couple episodes in my whole life, and I grew up with all the movies. So I never needed to know what Kong said. I don't get why they think that kids nowadays would. This is just a really stupid plot point. From here, what happens? So Kong and them go back to get the stuff from the poachers, or the poachers are there with the ligers and Bottilla. So then they get the ligers back, the mother dies, the baby lives. Kong is somehow framed for the robbery of guns. Yeah, that's a thing now. And then the human characters are left to wait for the next episode. Also, this Netflix series does a weird thing where they have certain episodes locked so that you have to watch all the episodes beforehand before you can see them. Like it's some sort of video game and you're unlocking level by level as you go. I don't know why. So what haven't we talked about? Oh, how about the fact that this show just crams exposition in? Like, from the very first time we see the father, I know a lot of kids shows do this, but from the very first time we see the father of these two kids, he's like, hello my sons, that we've been on a camping trip for 3 weeks now, and I am Dr. Blank, and you know how I got to be a doctor, kids, right? And they're like, because you're the leading example, or you're the leading scientist that's revolutionizing bionics. And he's like, that's right, kids, and you will be too someday, because we're the smart, rich family that affords a houseboat and a Mexican maid. Really. So from here, we get some really cheap allegory just slammed right in there, too. So here's the plot points. They're like, there you go, guys. Here's the plot points. And they're like, wait, you gotta make room for some allegory. You gotta make room. And it's just not needed. So here is the allegorical messages or the themes that you could pick up on in this show. Bionics are bad because every time bionics are pretty much involved, other than with the parrot's arm, they go bad. Bionic necklace turns Kong evil. Bionic dinosaurs, evil. Bionic Kraken, yeah, that's a thing in this episode too, evil. Bionic guy, he has a bionic face, evil. Bionic girl, evil. Guy with bionic face now has bionic arms, evil. Yeah, he wants to upgrade himself. So he's like implanting himself with bionics. Also, how about we talk about this really fast? What about the fact that one of the T-Rexes has lasers on its head?
Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
So bionics are bad. Then we learn, let's save the Earth. There are species that are endangered. We need to protect them at all costs. So then we just get a lot of, Dad's wish was to always have it so that we saved all of the species. And Richard's like, I don't like that, Lucas. I'm evil. And so basically the show is saying, if you don't want to support the world and save all of the species, you're evil. From here we learn that revenge is bad. Really bad. Because, it just is. Kong's growth happens, like I said before, pretty much overnight, which is ridiculous. We'll get to that in a second. Alright, let's talk about the fact that the evil character is the brother, right? And his brother, his twin brother, speaks like an American. Yet he has a British accent because, all British characters are evil in movies. When has there ever not been a British character that's evil, other than James Bond? But all villains are British pretty much. That's just the stereotype. So this is by far the stupidest part of the entire episode. Kong names himself. Not like a cool Caesar from Planet of the Apes kind of way. And if you're like, Caesar didn't name himself, Will, or not Will, what's his name, Will? Might have been. James Franco's dad named Caesar. Now I'm talking about Caesar from before in the other Planet of the Apes movie. I'm talking about Caesar from, Conquest. Is that the one? That's the one. I'm talking about Caesar from Conquest. He names himself. But here, the little kid just picks up Kong and he's like, what's your name? What should we call you? And then Kong just like beats on his chest. He's like, ooh, Kong. And the kid's like, oh, that's a good name. Okay. Well, that happened. So I guess the good things about this episode are it's kind of a fun time. I mean, I found myself enjoying it a little bit. More so towards the end than towards the beginning. It has a very interesting animation style. The way it's the CG kind of animation, but it's like I don't know how to describe it. The way the hair looks in it, I guess, is really, really good. But then the way Kong's hair looks is really good. Not that I think Kong's design is good, because it's not. He's just an overgrown monkey with a calic. Yeah, he's got like this fluff of hair like that throughout the whole series, or throughout at least the first episode. So yeah, the animation is alright. The human characters, like their hair. You see my hair, how it just seems like all smooth in one layer? Well, the human characters, they've got like here, here. So it's like from here, it starts out way up here, and then it like progressively goes in. It's really weird. Um, but I think the animation style is good. None of the voice actors are bad per se, other than the fact that the brother is British, but that could just be a nitpick. That could just be for little kids to understand that this is a bad guy and most bad guys are British, so maybe that'll help them understand. Like I said, this show is meant for little kids, not kids my age. I'm not really a kid, I'm a teenager, but not people my age. It's not meant for people like me. It's meant for people like 7 years old and younger probably, but um I'm watching it because it's got the name of one of my favorite things on earth, Kong. So, it's an okay show. I guess trying to put it into my child mentality factor, I would give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 on an average TV show rating. That's okay. The show, like I said, is growing on me. I started out not liking it at all, but then again, I have not gotten to the jetpacks yet. When Kong starts wearing a jetpack, that could be make or break for me. I could be like, yeah, they do it really well. They actually handle it well, but then again, I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's stupid. Why? Why? So, anyways, 6 out of 10 on a average TV show scale. On a scale like Walking Dead scale, man, this would be like a 4 out of 10. Not good. But like I said, I'm trying to put myself in the child mentality, so trying to enjoy it. Thank you all for watching. I'm D-Man. D-Man,